morning or good afternoon. I think I missed that one in the middle. Are you having lots of thoughts so you're not sure if you want to believe them? You want to stick around because I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't be believing your thoughts and what is important, the consequence of that, and what you could be doing instead. All right, so welcome. It is great to see you today. If you're catching this live, please comment in below. Just comment where you're coming from. If you're catching on the replay, of course, hashtag replay. And again, let me know what where you're watching from, because it's always interesting to see where in the world everyone is watching these videos. And I also want to let you know that we'll talk about it at the end a little bit as well. I still have 2 spots open for a private client to work one-on-one with me. I only open a few spots every time because it is intensive for both the client as well as myself. So if that is something that you're interested in and you want to spend your summer both relaxing as well as taking this time while you're recharging to be able to rewire some things going on in your mind, then this is a great opportunity. So just comment ready or send me a message and say hi. We'll start a conversation. Okay, so let's get into today. I'm just making sure that things are going on the tech side going well. So why shouldn't you believe your thoughts? Well, we have about 60 to 80,000 thoughts, sometimes more, sometimes a little less, every day going through our mind. It's overwhelming and exhausting just to simply think about the amount of thoughts and everything that's going through. So it's really hard to monitor all those thoughts. And here's the other part of it. How often is what you're thinking, do you really believe that it's the truth? That is a cold stone fact, right? You can say, well, that is gray. And someone else can come on and go, it's a bit more silver, right? From your thoughts, you have a specific fact that you have created for yourself or a truth about it for yourself. Here's the thing though, not a lot of those thoughts can necessarily be true. Now, this can be in different ways, right? Like we have facts of, especially if you're a business and finance, I have a finance background as well as a project management background. There were certain facts that are facts and truths, right? If you only had X amount of factories, you had X amount of revenue. Those are things that you can quantify. There's other things, though, that aren't quantifiable, though, that you have. And these can be thoughts about what are you capable of? These can be thoughts about what is your team capable of? What is the future going to look like, right? All these things are quite subjective, and you all have thoughts around them. You may be thinking, oh, Kim, I'm pretty good. I'm fairly analytical. I know what my facts are. I know what my truths are. I totally get you. I am very similar. I have a very analytical mind. I am lots of going through the logic, and yet I'm here to tell you your thoughts, scary as this is, are lying to you. And they're lying in sneaky different ways, okay? So one of these things that you can look at your thoughts as, ask yourself, how much of your thoughts feel negative? And I'm going to the feeling side because the amount of thoughts that we have, the best barometer for that is going to be your feeling. So if you're having more of a negative feeling, and this could be anything from anxious, being overwhelmed, just, starting into procrastination, being stressed, being angry, being frustrated, any kind of that negative side of that emotion, watch what you're thinking. And oftentimes you can end up actually being a person you're judging yourself, you're maybe judging the person in front of you, or judging your team, or even the situation that you're in. Okay, so those thoughts, well, you could completely believe them through, right? You could be saying, I just can't do this. I can't fill in the blanks for whatever it is you're saying that you can't do. You believe it's true. If you're going to say this about your team or a colleague, you're thinking like, well, they're always late. They're always late. You believe that to be true. Whether or not there's a fact behind it, you could monitor it, of course, you could measure it. The question though becomes, is your thoughts, are they telling you the truth, yes or no? So does this sound familiar to anybody? So if you're listening or catching this on the replay, please drop in. I'll just check on because I don't have my chat box open, so I can't see anything. But please drop in the comments a yes or a no or why or N if this is sounding like anything that you have experienced and that goes on in your mind, because I need to know, but I also know I'm not the only one that has these kinds of thoughts. So what happens then, right? So we're not only into the like your thoughts are your thoughts are lying to you, because we start off with the assumption that we're telling the truth, and you may think you are, again, thinking. However, the truth isn't in your thoughts. So what happens? What happens when every time you keep believing that it's the truth that your thoughts are sharing with you? Well, what happens is you're going to simply continuously see the same result, the same outcome. It's like living in Groundhog Day. It's always going to be, you're going to get to the same part every single time. And here's why that's important. Your thoughts that you're having now, or the truth as you may see it that you believe in, is based off of all of your past events, occurrences, things that have happened, and it's all based around what you made it mean to you at the time. And these are very normal things. So, if you're going back, go back thinking what happened in your childhood. Something happened that made you mean that it meant something to you, and you believed it to be true. And at the time, it likely was it to be true, because that's how you could survive in that situation or that event. Except now, years down the road, that same thought keeps appearing and you keep believing that it's true. And what has happened is that because you keep believing that thought is true, you're actually going to recreate that same outcome, the same result. And you're not going to get past and change the result until you've decided to change your mind, literally and figuratively, right? So what are some ways of doing it? Because we've been hanging out here for 7.5 minutes and you're thinking, well, Kim, okay, got it. And yet, what could you do? Well, you're going to want to find ways of really asking yourself those questions. One way of doing that, start writing down your thoughts. And literally asking, especially if you're analytical or if you're rational, logical, you can look at those. There's a difference, right? If it's in your mind, you can believe it's true, and yes, logically think, well, it's just a thought. However, when you start to write it down, there's a couple of benefits. One, when you write it down, your brain is allowed to forget it, because otherwise it thinks it needs to hold on to it. But as long as it knows it's written down somewhere, it's allowed to forget it. And two, you get to see the reality that's going on in your mind. Now, I have done this for myself. I still do this. I've done this with clients. And when they start writing it down, when you start writing down what your thoughts are going on in your mind, and then add on the next question. So the second part of this is going to be looking at that statement or looking at what you wrote down and really ask yourself, is this true? That the outcome of that is so often they are all surprised and amazed and go like, oh my God. Now that I see it in front of me and I can actually look at it and I can examine it, I've been thinking like this all the time. Yep. Scary, isn't it? So don't get stuck in thinking oh, I don't want to discover what's in my mind. If you don't want to, that is a choice. And don't be surprised if 6 months down the road, you're still in the same circle. You're still seeing the same results. You're still seeing the same outcomes. If you're really wanting to dive into this and think, well, hey, there's something in this. If my thoughts aren't telling me the truth, then where am I going to find my truth? Hey, That is part of the work that I do with both my private clients as well as with my group coaching clients. So if you want to learn more, if you want to discover more, then drop a comment below or send me a message. Just send me a message saying hi, and we'll start a conversation from there. And remember, don't believe your thoughts, and don't believe that your thoughts are always telling the truth. There will be moments, and you're going to know these as those flashes of insight, or the moment you feel like the penny has dropped, like the light bulb moments, right? You think, oh, that is when your inner wisdom has been able to get through. But in general, most of your thoughts are lying to you because they are trying, in their own way, trying to keep you comfortable and protected by, first and foremost, judging yourself, judging others, and judging the circumstances. So I know I just popped in a little bit of extra information here at the very end. So if you want to run through that again, then please let me know. Drop in the comments below, what is your biggest takeaway from today? I'd be curious to know, and I'd love to hear from you. Have a wonderful day.